Dirt track racing, running through my blood every week. I'm broke, but I can't give it up. Play on my boots, engine screaming loud, living for the lap when the green goes down. Packing that track in lap after lap, meeting in the pits, rules laid out flat. Hot laps flying, just setting the tone. Qualify quick or you're headed home. Crew in the trailer, wrenches in.
Welcome everybody to a special edition episode of the Cohen Shaw Micro Podcast. The prelude to the Clay Cup Nationals obviously kicks off tomorrow night, and we're going to have a special show here where I call myself out and I'm going to point out the ones to watch, the ones to look out for, some of the dark horses, and of course cap on some past champions on the Clay Cup Nationals. And going to get a lot of flack for this, for some people not making the cut. But that's just how it goes, and I'm hoping that they'll prove me wrong so this way we can talk about them after the Clay Cup is complete. So with no further ado, let's go for it. We have, I picked out 5 to 6 Pacific Northwest drivers and 5 to 6 California drivers that I got my eye on as far as who has a legitimate shot to take home the Clay Cup Nationals come Saturday. Again, this is my opinion based on how they've been running, how they showed up at the Dave Key Classic, how they've ran in past Clay Cups. First up, for the Pacific Northwest, I got my eyes on Cooper Anderson, a young driver that not too long ago seemed like he was in a junior sprint, but so far has a 2nd, a 6th, and a 7th in the last few races, and has won some heat races. Last Friday in the Dave Key Classic, he went 5th to 2nd in his heat. Very impressive. I got my eyes on him for this week. From the California side, he didn't have a good showing at the Dave Key Classic, but he definitely put on a show. Missed out the transfer by 1 spot. That's the 51 Dalton Pereira for California. Top 10 last year. Many recent wins, and he has a lot of momentum coming from California heading up to Clay Cup. Obviously not showing the full potential last Friday. However, I know that team's going to bounce back, do some homework, and come back stronger come tomorrow night. So don't count him out. He also has a Junior Sprint Clay Cup title to his name. And I know he's going to put up a big fight to try to get the Open 600 Clay Cup come Saturday night. For the Pacific Northwest, my next driver, Kyle Mitchell, has a win, has multiple top 5s, has shown some consistency, and even when he started at the back last Friday at the Dave Key Classic, he went +8 in the feature, just missing out on a top 10, and has made the show last year, was running 8th before a DNF. Kyle Mitchell, definitely one of the favorites for the 1200s, but I got him tabbed for the 600s as well. My next California driver, Cash Levenberg. He has a prelim win. He has a top 10 in last year's Clay Cup, and I know he wants to add a Clay Cup title in the Open 600s that he already has for the junior sprint. So I got my eyes on him as well. Another driver that has some momentum coming out of California, but however has been running mostly non-wing. But as we saw last Friday, he put the wing back on and looked just as good as he's been running all season. Next up for the Pacific Northwest, he's the 2024 Clay Cup champion. That is, of course, Levi Hillier. He also has a restricted championship. I believe one of the first drivers to go restricted and Open 600s ever since the restricted got added on to the Clay Cup. And he also has a sprint car feature win, so he's had a big 2026 so far. And nothing better than to add another Clay Cup to the youngster piloting the 24L. For California, driver that was not in attendance last Friday, however, did get some laps at the Lemoore Jet Bowl a couple of weeks ago to get ready, as this car, she's only ran it in non-wing on 2 occasions. That's Jade Avedisian, of course. Strong with wings off or on, and she's looking to add to her restricted Clay Cup. So trying to follow along the lines of Levi Hillier, a restricted Clay Cup champion, and looking to add a 600 title to that, piloting the Peels number 12. And like I said, got some laps at the Lemoore Jet Bowl, and definitely tab her as one of the favorites coming from California as well. Next Pacific Northwest driver, Tristan Thomas, definitely has shown some speed. He was in that battle for the final transfer spot last Friday with Dalton Pereira, and I feel like he's going to have a good showing as well. Has been a staple for Deming Speedway for quite some time before going out on the road for a brief moment. Now he's back and went +8 in the feature last week, got cracked into the top 10 between him and Kyle Mitchell. They both went +8 in that feature, and they ran 10th and 11th respectively, so I got my eyes on the 9T as well. For California, this is going to be a two-parter because, well, I couldn't decide who was my next driver, but Austin Torgerson ran third last week and top five run last year. He's been showing some speed and running really well in that Walker Filtration 88, and I got him tabbed as a favorite as well. Alongside, of course, how can you look past TJ Smith? Of course, been running some non-wing and had some rough luck lately with the wings on. However, he's won the prelim to the Mark Hagopian Memorial. He's made the feature every year for the Mark Hagopian Memorial, and come Clay Cup, he's made the features. He's just been lacking that little bit that can get him to the victory lane and pick up his first Clay Cup title. Of course, has won a lot of big races, past Tulsa Shootout champion, and definitely going to be a favorite piloting another Salmon Motorsports entry, Maddox's old car, it looked like, from watching on Fast Four Media, and definitely hungry for the big one to check off his list. Ran 6th last year, looking to go 5 spots better this year. For the Pacific Northwest, I gotta say the overall favorite, especially after how he's been running lately, the defending two-time champion of the Clay Cup, that's Jared Peterson. Won the Dave Key Classic last week. Probably should have won the points race before that and had some issues that sidelined him for the rest of that feature. And Petey definitely has Deming under his thumb and going to be a really tough one to beat come Saturday night. And final driver for California, probably a lot of people might be surprised that this one is late in the order. Again, it might be in order, it might be not. But my final driver to look at is Colton Key. Top 5 last year, ran 2nd last week at the Dave Key Classic, and probably was the closest to giving PD some fits in that feature. And Colton's a past prelim winner. I believe that was in restricted, but has been running a lot of laps at Deming Speedway, been going to Clay Cup religiously for the last few years, and definitely one to look out for. Has a non-wing win and an A-class win in California, and this could possibly be the breakout season for Colton Key. So that's my drivers that I have my eyes on, and getting into the dark horses, a couple of drivers that I don't know. I haven't seen a pre-registry list. I don't know if they're coming up. One's running sprint cars now, and one's kind of running a offset schedule in a way, but I think he might be making the trip up. And that's Colin Mackey for Pacific Northwest and Jet Yanis for California. Both drivers were running in the top 3 last year on Saturday night before having some issues getting into each other, racing hard, and I feel like they put on a good show no matter what track they're at in a micro. Colin Mackey also very aggressive, throws some bombs when he needs to, very known for throwing bombs at the Deming Speedway, and really hope he can make the trip. But like I said, Colin mostly focusing on sprint cars now, but you never know. Clay Cup seems to bring back the talent back to the Deming Speedway. And of course, Jet Yanis. I feel like this is one that he could check off his list. He's had a phenomenal season, setting records, picking up victories. Won 3 divisions in one night at Plaza Park already this year, and definitely just one to look out for out of California. But like I said, running a special schedule, not really focusing too much on micros. Has been running some sprint cars and midgets, and I'm hoping he makes a trip up. But regardless, definitely a stout pick. Now for my dark horses. This might surprise some people, but my first one comes from the Northwest, Reese Wickard. I was pretty impressed with a strong run, ran 4th after not posting a lot of results, and he's driving a car that Tristan Thomas drove in the previous Clay Cup. So Reese Wickard ran the top pretty well in that 14 car, and I got my eyes on him as possibly being a spoiler come Clay Cup. Next up, Carson Guffey. Picked up a heat race win over Stan Yockey, ran 3rd and 9th in recent weeks, and kind of a dark horse here as well, coming out of Canada. And you never know, he could ruffle some feathers and fall into some luck, and things could go his way for this week. Next up will be Spencer Constance, ran top 10 last year. He's kind of a silent one. He has some good runs, and then he kind of goes under the radar for a little bit, and then he'll pick right back up. Had some rough luck recently, but big shows at Deming, he shows up. So I got the 78 tabbed as a possible one to spoil the party as well. Next up is Clayton Jalakis, a 4th, 10th, and 6th in recent weeks. Top 5 last year. Had a rough Clay Cup, actually he had some top fives in points competition last year. Had a rough 2025 Clay Cup, but I feel like he'll rebound. He's a pass restricted Clay Cup winner, and keep your eyes on the 21. So getting back into my dark horse segment, we went with 4 drivers from the Pacific Northwest. We're going to go with 4 coming from California. First up, I know he didn't have a good showing last week the way he had hoped, but already a feature winner in California, and that's the 55X Lucas Malden. Didn't get out of the B feature last week for the Dave Key Classic, but I know that team did some homework and going to come back stronger for this week's Clay Cup Nationals. And Lucas has had some good showings in the past, and definitely going to see that 55X make his way towards the front at some point this week. Next up, another driver that had a rough one, didn't get out of the B last Friday, but I believe it's his first trip to Deming Speedway and his first Clay Cup, and that's the 5 TK O'Brien. Already a feature winner in California, mostly in non-wing competition. He does have an A-Class victory at the Lemoore Jet Bowl this year, and definitely going to keep your eyes on the 5. They're going to be plugging away, going to work, and making him more comfortable and run better come this week for 3 nights in a row. Next up, I don't know if you could call her a dark horse, but Rayo Salmon made the show in 2024, made the Dave Key Classic last Friday, and not only that, but went forward. Believe +3 in that feature, inside the top 15, and believe made the show right away. Didn't have to run the B main, and has had some good showings. And then if there's a bottom, be sure to look out for the 21 because that thing's going to the front. And just because she's part-time now, as you could say, don't count her out. Deming Speedway, one of the favorite trips for the Salmon Motorsports team, and definitely look out for all 3 of their cars. I believe 4 actually with Seal Howell pitting out of the same camp. And for the last one, the dark horse, of course, can't keep this guy off the list. I'll have to hear about it forever. But his accolades and many trips to the Deming Speedway, he's definitely earned a spot to be mentioned. Some might say, how can he be on the list? He barely races, but how do you keep one of the best off the list to ever run the Clay Cup? And that's, of course, Stan Yockey. Only one to win in 3 different divisions, even in the modern era with Junior Sprints and Restricted, adding to Clay Cup. He's the only one to win in 3 divisions. And an 8-time champion, probably should be more, but that might be another conversation for another episode of a podcast. But he has the most all-time. Liam Ryan is behind him in 7. He's won in 1200s and 600s. But Stan had a good showing. A new, fresh car pitting out of the A&M Livestock Camp with Martella and Dunkirken. And won the B main. Ran second in his heat race. Timed in decently. That's been his kryptonite in previous Clay Cups, having to come from the back and whatnot. But got the Dave Key Classic off to a good going. Moved forward in the feature. Believe he finished 15th in that feature. And definitely going to look out for Stan in the Clay Cup Nationals. Again, categorized as a dark horse just because he doesn't run as often, but has ran more starts than he has in previous years. And definitely got to keep your eyes on the infamous 7. I mean, there's a reason why they made t-shirts anyone but Yockey at one point at the Deming Speedway. So that clears up my dark horses. Just wanted to touch a little bit on past Clay Cup champions. For the 600 division, of course, defending champion is Jared Peterson. 2024 was Levi Hillier. 23, Caden Ciralli. Jared Peterson won again in 2022, so I apologize. He is a 2-time champion. Maybe I did say that before. No, 3-time. I want to make sure. Nope, I'm correcting myself. A 4-time Clay Cup champion for Jared Peterson. Won in 2022. He won again in 2019, and the earliest one coming in 2007. Chance Crum won in 2020, Mitchell Moles in 2021. And then Jake Andriotti in 18, a good season for Jake. He went on to win the Mark Hagopian Memorial that same year. 2017, Jake Hagopian finally got it done that year. A few attempts at the Clay Cup in previous years. Liam Ryan went back-to-back in 2015 and 16. Corey Eliason won his second one in 2014. 2013, Brock Lemley got by